Rebel Galaxy Outlaw is the Dark Souls of space dogfighting. That's it, there's my review. Video's over. Alright, fine. Since YouTube doesn't like short videos, I guess I gotta be a little bitch and comply with its algorithms. So, Rebel Galaxy Outlaw is a prequel to the broad ship space combat game Rebel Galaxy. Oh boy, who would have thunk? Created by a small game development studio, Double Damage, this game has double the value of Rebel Galaxy. I had to pay actual money to the Epic Game Store. I know, crucify me and send me to hell for paying for an indie game that I've been hyped for over a year instead of, buying 1.5 skins from Fortnite. The logical thing to do. I know, I'm such a heathen. Anyways, I took a small break from being called a bot in Rainbow Six Siege and running a communist server on Minecraft to take a spin at this game. See if it was worth waiting. You start off as Juno Markev, a gamer girl who was hunting down revenge for never getting her Soldier game console. But before she could properly get her revenge, she was attacked by who other than the man she was hoping to end, Soldier Boy. She escapes his grasp and retreats to try to tell Nintendo where he was. However, he gets on his ship and Superman's that hoe. However, Juno was able to attack him back with the countless memes of the man, causing him to back off. Juno crashes, and now the game begins. You start off in a vehicle I use every day when I play any ranked game, a garbage truck, and let me tell you, you're constantly reminded that what you are driving is no Bugatti. So you basically want to get out of that ship as soon as possible. But one thing stands in your way, something that the original Rebel Galaxy Outlaw had that stays true: brutal early game. The most you could gain in most missions here was about 2,000 credit. Alright, now that I got a better ship, time to get on with the story. So you do a couple missions to help out Squidward so he can help you track down Soldier Boy again for you. Hopefully in the meantime, you're able to get the coveted real picture of Bandito, that sexy man. You also help out Duck Dynasty over here get revenge on his brother for stealing all the space ducks. And I hope you like him because he'll be your only hope for half the game. So Squidward tells you to talk to another friend of his, some robot. He tells you he'll help you find Soldier Boy only if you help him get an autograph of Bandito. Since you don't want to give up your own autograph of him, you reluctantly help him track him down. You find Bandito and you politely ask him to give the robot his autograph. He refuses and decides to give you the hardest skilled fight of the entire game at you. After about 20 resets, he finally gives up and even decides to go home with him. The robot thanks you and then you're left with fuck off. Then once you're on the other side of the universe, Consuela from Family Man decides to remind you of your good old days of cleaning houses. You decide to help her out by overthrowing her boss by replacing him with your old boss. But before you do, he gives you a life-questioning choice. Either kill a bunch of merchants or have Fortnite extended to another season. Yeah. After that's all said and done, Consuela finally replaces Duck Dynasty as your buddy, and the robot tells you where to find Soldier Boy. Then, he immediately becomes available to be your buddy, completely phasing out the need for your Hispanic help with robot. It then leads you to another character who can help you find Soldier Boy named Sharky. Yeah, no jokes about her here, I generally couldn't think of anything relating to her name or appearance.
Get out of the water, there's a shark!
Anyways, you debate with her how millennials are killing literally every industry out there, and she tells you how much of a boomer you are for liking classical Disney movies and hating on the remake. So you decide to settle it all with the most intense and action-filled part of the game of all: playing pool. Then because dinner's almost ready, you lose and reset so you can beat her at pool because you had no fucking idea how to play and you thought that the goal was to dunk the 8-ball first. So she tells you how to find Soldier Boy by going to his Cameo page and paying $50. Then for some reason my game glitches out and doesn't allow me to have Sharky as a buddy. Right? I mean, they couldn't have wasted a good character with good interaction with Juno just for a game of pool, right? Right? Right. So you track down Soldier Boy and demand to have your Soldier game. He tells you he doesn't have it because it was stolen by the most generic Irish stereotype I have ever seen in space. So he tells you to go to the other side of the universe so he can tell you to come back to the other side of the universe so you can help the Irish escape his DUI. So you save him and he tells you the truth. The truth is, Nintendo took the final Soldier game as hostage so they could get you to buy Pokemon Sword and Shield instead. He then offers to be your buddy, but, and this is true, I literally forgot he existed the moment I stopped talking to him. And the game did too, as he's never mentioned again. I don't even remember what sector he's stationed in, let alone the planet. Unlike Sharky, who was mentioned a few more times. And somehow, the Soldier game you've been wanting to find manages to contact you and tell you to meet him. Where exactly? The other side of the universe, of course. So you meet up with the Soldier game and he tells you that Nintendo installed a chip that explodes his head at the push of a button, and then this was their plan all along. They wanted to make sure Pokemon Sword and Shield sold, so they wanted Soldier Boy taken out, so they kidnapped your Soldier Boy game and pinned it on him. You punch a random old lady in frustration and run away. Then the CEO of Epic Games contacts you because you used a V-Bucks generator to buy the female Raven skin. Because you don't want to lose them all, you do his bidding by going to the opposite ends of the universe 4 separate times. He tells you Nintendo still want your money, so you hesitantly find Bandito, who composed the music for Sword and Shield, and convince him to tell you where their headquarters are by copyright claiming every video on YouTube that has a fraction of any copyrighted song. Good, serves them right for trying to gain money for using their songs for half a second. He takes you to the Nintendo HQ, where you find the one and only Game Freak. You demand they add back all the Pokemon, but they refuse. You demand they bring back Mega Evolutions, but they refuse. You ask them to never bring back Z-moves, and they agree. And good, cause fuck Z-moves. You ask them what's their motive for not having all the Pokemon. Is it because it would take too long? Because they wanted to balance things? Because they wanted people to try new Pokemon? No, they were just really inept and had no idea what the fuck they were doing. Out of anger, you leave and wait for hours till the FBI track you down. Because you dared give money to Epic Games and not Nintendo, they wanted to publicly shame you. But they gave you an option. Help the fanboys gain early access to Sword and Shield, or go back to playing Infinite Warfare for this level of dogfighting. Because you're not peasant, you help them out. However, you were given the option to either A. continue this plan, or B. tell Game Freak about their countless of fanboys that will support the games no matter what. Being the asshole I am, I chose B. Once at the battle, you are treated to the biggest and best battle in the whole entire game. Game Freak, for some reason, takes all the fanboys as hostile threats and continues to show off their ineptitude as a weapon. Try as they may, the fanboys were overwhelmed and decided to be patient little pets and wait till they released. You succeed, and Game Freak gives you the final option. Either join the mindless slaves that just want to have the good time, or leave like the rest and play Minecraft like a cretin. That decision is up to you. Oh wait, what's this? Soldier Game wants to know your location? Sure. Now where do I have to go? Yeah. Nah. Now that we have the story out of the way, I think it's time I talk about the good, the bad, and the in-between. The good. Rebel Galaxy Outlaw has the premier space dog fighting combat I have ever seen. Every single moment you make while trying to take down your opponent is as fluid as it can be. The best way I can compare them to would be the space battles that took place in Infinite Warfare's campaign. They were fun and exciting. Yeah, they weren't very realistic, but they wanted to give you the best experience ever. And while much of that combat was repetitive, it never felt that way, and every kill felt rightly deserved and satisfying. The satisfaction of taking down a pilot one at a time never gets old, and the screams they let out each time is priceless. The game does a good job with pacing and small fights to the big galactic battles only seen in Star Wars and the wet dreams of No Man's Sky. And it's not all shoot, think later either. The game does an exceptional job at making you think ahead on your toes and in the fight. Because certain guns you attach take energy to fire, there will be times where you have powerful artillery, but because they take up so much energy, you're out of juice and can no longer fire. This makes the whole consumption of energy very important. Would you rather put your energy in your shield so you have more defenses and hopefully regenerate it back in time to take on another threat? Maybe you're having a hard time catching up with a pilot and need that extra boost to your engine. Or maybe you're an idiot and decided to put all your money in a gun that was powerful but used up all your energy with only a few fires and really need to recharge faster. The whole energy system on your ship really makes you think and really decides a lot of your fights in the later game when you need to back off and plan your next attack in the midst of battle. Juno as a character was also exceptional. You really got the vibe that she was out for revenge and didn't care what it took to get it, almost as though this would be her final adventure before she completely gave everything up. She was also an example of a strong, independent female character done right. At times, I do feel certain games try a bit too hard to seem woke by having these character types, but Juno has a reason to be the way she is. She's an ex-smuggler with an overly expecting mother who just wanted to settle down and leave her sins behind, only to get dragged back into the cockpit again due to her husband's murder. All she wants is a peaceful life, but she has to deal with all the gaggle of shitheads she's come to know and hate. Really, she just has this fuck this attitude towards everything, and I love it. Now, the bad.
Beginning a contraband scan. Hold steady, citizen.
We're located conveniently in the Drummond Belt, just outside of Austin orbit. Why don't you come on down and tell them...
Contraband scan complete. Move along.
We're not exploding ships or playing pool everything is a drag. From NPCs that just won't shut the fuck up, to the amount of I had to press just to get to one mission to another. I don't like to say this for any game, as at times it's undeserved because there is a difference of padding and the grind. But man, Rebel Galaxy Outlaw is padded. I already talked about how brutal the early game is, how certain missions are virtually impossible to complete because the game decides to spawn you a far distance away from the enemies so they can instantly destroy your ship. Or how about whenever you just barely escape a fight with your life, the closest and probably only station available in that sector being sieged by pirates, so you can't dock anymore and have to fight them all. Don't even get me started on the nightmare that is traveling through sectors. If you aren't constantly being taken out of autopilot for distress signals, it's for traders or pirates. If you aren't being halted from going through jump gates from enemies, it's because you ran out of fuel. If you aren't allowed to dock at stations because the police are scanning you, it's because an enemy was in a 2k mile vicinity for a split second, so now you gotta murder their ass. I'm glad as hell the autopilot, aka the fast travel button, was added, because if it was stuck to the Rebel Galaxy sublight only travel, I would have never been able to finish the game without breaking my mouse. While in the late game you can basically insta-kill any pirate stopping you, or even outrun the pirates that stop your autopilot within seconds. It's still not fun at all to have to deal with them at the frequency my unlucky ass had to. And that's not even to mention how half the story missions made you go to the opposite side of the universe just so they can tell you to go all the way back. It really was a chore. Rebel Galaxy, the original, made you travel a lot too, but one, they had multiple missions take place within 1 or 2 sectors at a time, and 2, they didn't have nearly as many sectors as this time around, and the missions themselves at times just felt cheap. I already mentioned how the mission to help Satchel find the grill took me multiple attempts to complete, and that's because for some reason the AI have godly aim instantly when you enter a battle. And that problem isn't unique to that mission, but they all basically require you to have a buddy with you at all times possible just so you don't get overwhelmed at once. That and, well, Sharky is an unavailable buddy. That's really all the bad stuff. Now, the in-between. Now, this stuff are things that may be important to some people. For me, I don't really have an opinion or care about enough to have one. Rebel Galaxy Outlaw, as of right now, is a Epic Store exclusive. While will be available for Steam, PS4, and Switch later on, right now, it's an Epic Store exclusive, and some, if not all, people will not like that. As for me, I literally do not care. To me, I see it as no different than Steam in the areas that matter to me. Rebel Galaxy Outlaw took me about 28 hours to complete. For some, that may be awesome because that's just a lot of hours for your buck. But for others that took the negative sides to heart, that may just be something to steer away from. The game doesn't really do a good job in telling you how to properly get a hang of the controls early on. I say this is a bit in between because I actually enjoyed learning how to play properly all for myself. Finding my own style and button layout that suits me, finding out how to send missiles and flipping off other pilots by mistake at a time was fun and also just a really good learning experience. And learning when was a good time to dip and come back to a fight was also a great learning experience, as it made every death afterwards feel like it was my fault for being overly confident. But considering how brutal early game is, for some it might just be more of a nuisance than anything. Final verdict. If you ever played the dogfighting missions in Infinite Warfare and wish you could play a game where its whole purpose was that, and that you wish to engage in the type of galactic battles promised in No Man's Sky, then this is the game. Not just one of the games capable of doing it, it's the game. While I complain about how hard early game is, it serves as a way to make it feel so much more rewarding for when in the later game you're mowing down enemies while your power meter barely goes down even a fraction. It makes it so it's satisfying to come back to the station only to have to repair your ship with only 1 credit left to your name because of how hard you fought. Never for a moment while I was in the heat of battle did I care about the countless times Dodge Patrol stopped me or the amount of dead traitors probably out there in space because I never bothered to deal with the distress signals during my long journeys across sectors. No. When I was racing behind another pilot, shooting its back with my guns, all I cared about was adding another tally to the kill board. Then flying through the explosion of its remains only to surprise the enemy shooting me from behind with a barrage of missiles. There's no feeling greater than to see a capital ship try its absolute mightiest to escape from you because you killed all its other friends and destroyed all of its turrets to fight back with. The sound of your gun shredding through its defenses only to see the first of many explosions signaling your victory. Something like that absolutely never gets old, and it's the reason you deal with the long road for the next battle, because there's no other game that does it quite like Rebel Galaxy Outlaw, and it's why it's now one of my most favorite games of all time. Rebel Galaxy Outlaw is completely worth not receiving your soldier game.